going to call a public hearing to order for 2019 proposed county tax rates. At this time, if there's anyone from the public that would like a copy of the proposed rate or has any question or comment or concern, we would open the floor for that at this time. Seeing and hearing no action on the public to speak on the proposed tax rate, we will now close the public hearing, and I will call to order the regular scheduled meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court. I'll ask our County Attorney, Sam Phillips, to open us with prayer. We'll follow that with the pledge to the flag.
Gracious and loving Heavenly Father, we come to you this morning thankful for all the blessings that you have given to us individually and as a community. We're so thankful for living in a community, a state, and a country where we have been allowed to prosper and enjoy the freedoms that you've given to us. Ask that you be with this group today and give them wisdom and discernment to make decisions that are right by the community and in your sight. We ask that you bless and keep those who wear the uniform here and abroad, and bring those abroad home safely to their families. I ask that you bless and keep those veterans who have served their country in the past, and that you bless and keep and protect those first responders so they can come home safely to their families. I also ask that you forgive us of our sins. We ask these things in Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have several with us today. Dale McCreary with the ambulance, Audrey Phillips with the library, Jason Phillips with the extension office, and at this time they just need to make their way forward to state, I guess, or present to the fiscal court their taxing district's presentations. Yeah, if y'all would just go in the order you're seated right there. Boom, boom, boom. Be great.
On August the 20th, 2020, the Franklin Simpson County Ambulance Service Board met, which consists of Chairperson Scott Brown, Hunter Bowen, Lee McBrayer, and Jennifer Delk. This year, they opted to take the compensating rate for the ambulance tax at 3.8 cents per $100 assessed value. The non-compensating was discussed. That's what they took last year. It was at 0.04. We had a decent year. We got some needed equipment. They just felt this year that we should take the compensating rate and pass it along to the taxpayers. Any questions for me? No?
All right. Thank you, Dale.
Thank you much.
Thank you, Dale.
Ms. Phillips? It was perfect, Dale.
So you don't want my 30-minute dissertation?
We would prefer not, but if that's what it takes.
Think what that pass it around. Well, if you want short and sweet, library board voted in July to take the compensating rate before the rates were actually even out, truth be told. So our compensating rate that we're taking this year is 6.3 cents per $100 of assessed property value and 6.52 cents per $100 of assessed personal property value rates. We're financially okay with everything that we're doing, and there's no need to take one at this point in time. So we took our compensating rate.
I meant to ask Dale, and I asked you too. Taking the compensating rate, what is the increase over last year, do you know?
I don't know if
There'll be a slight increase.
there's usually a $20,000 or $30,000 increase, in compensating rates from year to year.
And there's an increase in revenue at the ambulance service too, you take the compensating rate.
The compensating rate, we're going to do about 15,000 more.
Okay.
And I'm sure that's based on whatever
Right,
your percentage
right.
rate happens to be, yes.
Figure that formula out.
Yeah, yeah, it's on the DLG website, but I've never,
Right.
that's how KDLA actually figures our taxing rates. And as any taxing district can do, the rate, the formula's on the DLG website. So KDLA actually does our rates for us. So construction's going well, just very briefly, it's going up. Hopefully they're gonna get the second floor poured this week. They're digging the new water line from Madison Street over. Looks like substantial completion right now, as of right now, is going to be end of February, unless they can really make up some time once they get it under roof. So that's where we stand on the construction project, unless anybody has any other questions.
Here, you can have
There should
mine.
be.
You can have mine.
I thought I sent everything, I do have one.
I only took one.
Huh? You only took one? Anything else?
No, thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Phillips?
Good morning. The sheet that I passed out illustrates both what compensating rate and compensating plus 4% rate would generate for the Simpson County Extension District. And the district board selected to go with the compensating rate, which will generate, as you can see at the top of that page, $318,557. This would utilize a 1.944 cents per every $100 of assessed value tax rate for both real and personal property, with 2 cents for motor vehicle and watercraft. This essentially, by taking compensating rate, does lower the tax rate from last year, which was 1.997 for real property and 2.6893 for personal property last year. So that's what the board elected to go with. And to answer your question a minute ago, by taking compensating rate though, the board expects to realize about 15,000 additional dollars due to increase in tax base.
Okay.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jason.
I'm under that air hammer, I guess.
Next, we'll open the floor for public comment. I know we have one gentleman, Mr. Kepley, that would like to address the fiscal court. If you want to come forward, that'd be good.
Hello, good morning. I'm Kyle Kepley. I'm here today seeking a easement for a water line on the county right-of-way on the south side of R.E. Reeves Road for the purpose of running a private line to my property with approximate address of 870 R.E. Reeves Road in the distance of approximately 3,400 feet. Thank you.
Kyle talked to me about this, and I told him to come to the court meeting. We've done this on other roads, but he would just have to work with Bobby on.
That's going to be my only question. Bobby, you're good with what we're doing here? Okay.
The only thing we've ever requested when they do this is to get as far as possible from this asphalt, where he's at, repaired, but also the depth. She's talking about each half inch, so if you dig it, all possible, it was asking how to get 3 foot.
But you'd be able to show him how far the right-of-way comes and where we go.
I talked to him, and I'm not told, like Marty, I told him, just don't care, never have a piece of you or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's fine to do it. What do we need to do to grant?
Basically, you're gonna have to pass a motion, make a motion, second it, and have an affirmative vote to grant his request.
I'll make a motion that we allow Kyle.
Bobby wanted to say
I
something?
was gonna say, he has talked to property owners,
You're right.
and that's his.
Yeah.
He can't get it,
He can't get an easement across one
line, and
piece.
then he can't get easements.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we allow Kyle Copley to put the water line in on Reeves Road, put a private line in on Reeves Road, but to work with the Public Works Director to make sure it's at the right depth and where it needs to be off the, or in the right of way.
Yeah, I'll second. All right, so we got a motion by Marty, second by Scott, to allow Mr. Kepley to have the use of the county right-of-way for installation of private water line.
Was there any more specific other than just Reed's Road here, like an address or mama or anything?
To my farm has a approximate address at 870 RE Reeves Road, with the approximate distance for the water line of 3,400 feet.
Thank you. Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Myron Herman.
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right, gentlemen, if you've had an opportunity to review the minutes of the September 3rd regular fiscal court meeting, we would just need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Myron, second by Nate.
Myron Herman.
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing.
Yes.
Marty Chandler.
Yes.
Scott Poston. Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of the September 3rd regular joint city-county meeting, we would need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
So moved.
Motion by Myron. Second. Second by Scott.
Myron Herman.
Yes.
Scott Poston.
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing.
Yes.
Marty Chandler.
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right, gentlemen, next on the agenda is to review or approve the second reading and passage of ordinance number 220.208, setting the 2019 tax rates. Obviously, we had that first reading and had a motion and a second to leave the rates unchanged at 10.5. So I think you all were given the information in the portal on the history of the tax rate, what had been done, but we'll be open to discussion at this point with the understanding that we have to get this done and approved today, and the tax rate can only be between the 10.3 compensating and the 10.5 that we had first reading on. The rate cannot be higher than that.
I went back and looked on the financials. If we take the compensating rate, it's still about a $100,000 increase.
You're absolutely right. The compensating would be, actually, it would be about a $120,000 increase. I want to caution, here, I want to let y'all know this, and then I want to ask you a question. I'm going to be good with whatever we do with this tax rate, anywhere between 10.3 and 10.5. I just want to make sure that everyone completely understands the vast difference between what we're doing setting a tax rate and what the taxing districts are doing, in that 2.25 of our money goes directly to the health departments that we don't keep. So effectively, we're operating currently on 8.25. There is no doubt in my mind that when this retirement rate gets through this one-year reprieve and we're facing July 1 of 2020, that retirement rate for those health departments are going to increase, and it will impact the amount of money that will be allotted to the health departments. Now, having said that, when that takes place, we do not automatically get to increase that 2.25 rate the way we are currently structured. Any increase to that health department rate will come directly from the 8.25 that's our portion of the tax rate. We're also, as you've seen in the information, the jail, do you know the numbers today, jailer?
Yes, sir, do.
Could you share those with us?
Would you like a copy? I brought you some.
Yes, sir. And my point to this is, the way the jail has been trending for the last 2 to 3 weeks, we're going to be looking at roughly $150,000 to $180,000 shortfall in Class D state revenue.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I made y'all copies. This is how concerned I'm really getting on this. If you will look at August 17th, our low was 59 counties. And if you'll look down, August the 26th, our high was 78 on the county side, and we budgeted for 30. I'll explain to you what that's going to mean for us if this holds. That's an average of 66.2 county inmates. If that holds for the year, that equals out to be $414,095.42 that we did not budget for.
What was that number again?
$414,095.42.
If that were to hold true for an
If that
entire
holds
year.
true for the year. Yes, sir. And right now, the way things are going, you know, I want to say this, and commend our law enforcement, our sheriff's department for doing their job. But the flip side is, it's making it harder on me.
Well, you can't.
That's my job.
There's no way you could have budgeted.
I cannot budget
When your
this.
5-year history is about 37, 38.
And this is the air of caution that I've always tried to stay on, and it's hitting us.
But you can't, but you would agree, you can't budget for
No,
this
sir.
higher number. There's no way.
No, sir.
Possible.
No way possible.
If I might, Judge,
Yes, sir.
might try to shed a little light. We're all at different links in the chain, as the jailer knows, and the sheriff knows. It's not just one thing that is driving this. It's a
Right.
combination of things. We have had, I can tell you, in the district court part, we have had, in the last month or 6 weeks, an incredible spike in the number of people being charged with felony offenses, most of which are felony drug and or drug-related offenses. Thank you. And so what's going on is, and I say drug-related, meaning someone steals something or burgles something to help get money to feed their drug issues. We've had that, plus we have had very active law enforcement. We've had a very active drug task force, which is what you want. That's the whole point of them. And honestly, we have had a new Commonwealth's attorney since it's been since January, but there was a considerable backlog, and he's been working the grand jury like a bunch of clay pit mules trying to get rid of the backlog. And oftentimes when they return indictments, the judge issues indictment warrants, and they're put in jail, and oftentimes they're let out, but sometimes they're not, and they're being held pretrial, and the state does not reimburse for pretrial, felons. And so, anyway, there's all kinds of things that have led to this, and I don't see I don't have a crystal ball and I can't look into a year from now, but while there might be some let up, I think we're going to see increased numbers of county inmates or county-funded inmates for the foreseeable future. And so you all need to be prepared for that and act accordingly with the foreknowledge. I don't think this is going to change in the next month or two.
Now granted, we are still trying to utilize every option we can, like home incarceration and stuff like that. We're doing as much of that as we can to alleviate the burden on us, but
we probably are the top, if not close to the top, in jurisdictions that let people out pre-trial as opposed to a lot. So I mean, we try to mitigate that, but there's just some folks
there's some that you just can't let out.
Just some you can't let out.
You wouldn't look at me and sleep with good conscience if you knew some of the ones that I had. Oh, just let him out. No, we can't, or her. We can't do that. There's some stipulations that we're just gonna have to suck it up.
Well, obviously, this discussion is happening because we need to make a really well-informed and well-educated decision on what we do right here today. And I will never ask the jailer to fill the jail to an unsafe capacity, nor would I ever ask the sheriff to turn a blind eye and not do his job to bring in the folks that aren't abiding by the law. So it has us where we're at, and it is a reality that we're facing. And the difference in the compensating in 10.5, although it definitely will not make up the shortfall in what we could face here, it's about $28,000. And the blunt reality, and I'll take the political fallout for this as people watch this, but it's a blunt reality that I would tell anybody in the public today. You're way ahead to leave the rate alone than you are to reduce it today, only to increase it tomorrow, because that is a bitter pill to swallow when you make the reduction and then you turn around and have to make the increase. Or on the other hand, and here's the thing. Yes, assessments are up, but assessments are up by growth, and growth is how you would like to generate the revenue rather than increasing the tax rate, period. But with growth comes more expenses. If you have more people living, there's more wear and tear on the road. They're going to have to be repaired sooner. I mean, it's just on and on it goes.
Yeah, but the property tax don't have anything to do with the roads. That's road tax.
Yeah, but it still has to do with the things we have to fund day in and day out.
I guess my question to the jailer is, what steps are you taking to cut expenses? If your revenue is dropping that much, are you doing any steps to cut expenses?
Marty, I'm glad you asked that. I wish I had it on a piece of paper, but I will hand deliver it to you. The county inmates are more work than the state inmates. That's a given. But we're still doing it on the staff that we have, which we had a staffing analysis done. And we've got 39 full-time employees. They recommended 46, but we're doing it on 39. So we've been milking this, and we've been riding it out for a while, and we've been reaping the benefits to our county. That's where we're at right now.
If I might, Jailer, for the purposes of our audience who's watching this, not just these folks, but on TV, you might explain, we might know why it's a given that county are more expensive than state, but you might give a thumbnail sketches for the folks who don't know why county inmates are more expensive to maintain than state inmates, please.
Well, you have to go through all the booking process where state come in, they got a number, click, go. The counties have to come in, you got to go through the full process, so it's actually almost double the work with a county versus a state, because the state's already been through it, state's already had everything processed, it's just a click of the button and put them up.
Well, and it's not only that, it's the medical issues also.
Oh, yeah.
That we're responsible for all that with county inmates where we're not with state inmates.
It's really funny that you can see somebody out on the street every day that they got a limp and they've never been to the doctor. They come into the jail, oh gosh, I gotta go see an orthopedic surgeon. And guess who has to pay for that? We do.
Anyway,
They're notorious for that.
We do.
And that's gonna hit us too. You need to factor that in. That's gonna hit us because we cannot deny them medical when they come in. And yes, you will know it. You've been fine with it for 2 years. You go to jail, now all of a sudden it's a priority and it's gotta be taken care of. So you gotta factor that in because it happens 95% of the time.
Well, at any rate, here's where we're at. We have got to set this today. As I said earlier, I will be good with whatever we do between the compensating and 10.5. My suggestion is to leave it unchanged at 10.5, but I have a question for you guys at this juncture also. If we are truly faced with an increase or possibly even a sizable increase in the rate that we have to come up to pay the health department, would you be willing to change the way we are structured the tax situation right now? Because if that rate increases, say 1 point, and we're currently at 10.5, we're only collecting 8.25. If the contribution to the health department moves from 2.25 to 3.25, we're only getting 7.25 at that point, the way we're currently structured. And so I guess now is the time to ask any questions you may want to ask, make any comments you want to make, but we're going to have a motion and a second at some point on a number for the tax rate for the 2019 tax year.
Well, I'll move we take a compensating rate of 10.3.
So we have a motion on the floor to be at 10.3.
Second.
Motion by Marty, second by Myron. Yes.
Martin Chandler,
Yes.
Myron Herman,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Mason Barnes,
Yes, as I said, I will not fight or argue with you over this. I will vote yes. I think that we might have missed the boat right here, but we're going to work through and make the best of it.
Well, you know, when we raised the occupational tax, this was taught then, and that was one of my main
Right,
stickers there was the increase.
I understand, but we're not going to gain revenue from the occupational tax with the way the retirements is.
True, but our assessments, you know, right now, it's hard to say exactly what we're going to receive as far as tax revenue off of our
Right.
real property and personal property. So I think those numbers are going to be, will be fine for this year. And if the health department, when we get a ruling on that, then we will respond.
We will have no choice.
Whatever's needed.
Yeah, okay. Very good, let's move on.
may I before we go on, I want to make sure that I have, so
The-
it's going to put the real property at 10.3.
And the personal property at 10.3.
And the watercraft and motor vehicles remain at
16.1.
And aircraft at 2.1.
Yes,
Thank you.
that is correct. Next up is to review and approve the first reading of ordinance number 120.01, establishing a change in regular joint city-county meeting days. I guess it was determined by legal counsel that we needed to do this by ordinance, and I believe that it holds the first meeting. Does it mention the first meeting in this ordinance, Sam? Yes, it'll be the first Tuesday of the month of March.
Right.
And the second joint meeting will be the third Tuesday of the month of September, so as to avoid conflicting with Labor Day holiday.
Labor Day holiday.
So the first and then the third?
Yeah, March will be the
Okay.
first Tuesday, and September will be the third Tuesday.
That's, I thought when we talked about it, they said the second one, but the third one's better, that's the same.
Yeah, same as our regular meeting days.
I'm making a motion.
Second.
Scott's made a motion to approve first reading of this ordinance. Nate seconded that motion.
Scott Poston.
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing.
Yes.
Marty Chandler.
Yes.
Myron Thurman.
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes.
Basically, the reason for that, the ordinance, gentlemen, is because when you're setting a regularly scheduled meeting, you have to have that set up in your ordinances, so you can do whatever you want in a regularly scheduled meeting, whereas anything else would be a special call meeting. You can only take up what's on the actual published
Right.
agenda.
Right. All right, next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the jail policy and procedure manual, you've done well because it was several pages long.
Yeah.
I guess at this point, if anyone has a question, we'll bring the jailer up.
I got about halfway through.
You got, and fell asleep?
Got through 30 pages of it.
But I guess we do have to, by motion, second, and vote, approve the policy and procedure manual for the jail.
You want me to just tell you in a nutshell what changed?
If you want to come forward, we'd be glad to do it.
Please.
I can say this out loud. It was your telephone number.
Okay,
That's it.
okay.
So moved then.
All right. Did you have a question?
I thought she had raised her hand. Raise her hand.
Did,
That answered it. I just wanted to know if there were any changes.
okay, okay. So we got a motion by Myron to approve the jail policy and procedure manual. We need a second by Nate.
Thurman and Downing.
Yes.
Myron Thurman.
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing.
Yes.
Marty Chandler.
Yes.
Scott Poston.
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. All right, gentlemen, next on the agenda is to do something with this Loving Chapel Road property, the little strip of county-owned property. You've got the only survey that we have in front of you that shows, if you'll look on the larger piece of paper, you will see a little kind of a triangulated, small little sliver, 8/100ths of an acre that is county property. So I see, Michelle, you're here.
I am, and I have a survey with me that you all, I'd like for you all to see before you make any kind of decision.
Do you have copies available?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
And, I also have Clay Davidson, who is the surveyor.
All right, if you and Mr. Davidson want to come up here and bring those, we'll be glad to hear you.
I'm Michelle Estes, and as you all asked, that we have a survey made for you all to look at, and so that we can get some sort of resolution. This is Clay Davidson. He is with Davidson Land Surveying, Inc., and he will be able to talk to you a little bit more about this and answer some questions concerning this survey.
Mr. Davidson, my first question would be, as I look at this right off the bat, I may just come up there with you so I make sure that I'm understanding what I'm looking at.
Yes, sir. I've got a copy here.
I wanted to bring the other copy that we have.
Oh, sure.
Okay. Are these pins showing in the same direction? They're at the same.
The Estes property line, the way I've determined it and the way Dunning have determined it is there's a difference. So the county acquired Loving Chapel Road, or Massey Road, used to be called Massey Road, in 1985.
there was a county ordinance and they acquired the road. The right-of-way was sold off, the state bought the right-of-way back in '58. And I determined the right-of-way based on the state highway plan, which was done in 1958. I determined the right-of-way to vary from 30 to 40, and it went along the property line of Estes. I don't know here. But this is the right-of-way going from 30 to 40. Then the other side was 35.
Well, here's my question too. And just to make sure that I understand, and hopefully I can understand this where I can explain it to these gentlemen. This is a pen found here.
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I'm looking on the copy of Mr. Davidson, the black circle in the gray shaded area right here.
Yeah. Those are Dunning's pens.
Those are Dunning's pens.
Yes, sir.
Where do you, and you say the pen is where? You say the actual property pen is where?
The property line for Estes, the shaded area is a gap with no title between Price and Estes. It's a gap in the deeds. The Estes deed called for a white oak, which is the 40-inch oak displayed on the northern part of the drawing. And then at the other end of it, I've got a broken line with an arrow. I found the cornerstone on the other end, which is the Estes deed called for an oak and a stone. And it's a straight line between the two. So that determines the Estes property line, which is shown on the hatched area. The Price property line was surveyed. I'm not going to disclose the surveyor's name, but he went from the oak to the pike, which is the circle at the bottom of the page. It says 3/4 inch pike found. So there's a gap. The gap is the shaded area in gray. From what I can tell, the county right-of-way would be the same as the state, that what the state took when the county acquired it in '85. It's just 30, and then it gets bigger to 40, so it varies, but the distances are shown. So from my point of view, this is a property that does not have title. The Price deed don't take it in, Estes deed don't take it in, and the county does not take it in. So it's just there's a gap. So I don't.
So who owns that property?
At one time, the Price property went to the west right-of-way of, like I said, Massey Road, but now Loving Chapel Road.
So at one point, the west property did encompass this gray shaded area.
The Price property.
The Price property.
Yeah.
So if that being the case, then the Prices would have this access from this point to this point at Loving Chapel Road.
Well, as far as claiming the shaded area, you would need to get a lawyer to legally claim the property that don't have title to it. It's a piece of property that don't have title.
So the state don't own this piece of property?
No, I don't believe anybody owns that property. It's however legally, however you want to pursue.
Actually, counsel, that's not entirely correct in that somebody owns it. Now, we might not be able to determine who.
It would go to a previous deed.
I'm just saying,
And what would that
it's
previous
not like
deed
the
be?
Indians carved out that piece of ground, and no one, beginning of time, and nobody ever claimed it. So I'm just saying, somebody owns it, and the question is...
In your search, who would you determine owned that previous?
The prior deed to Price. But
Are you okay with that, Michelle?
We are. What we wanted to know was what was our property and what was someone else's property. So, and as I said, if we got this survey, Buster and I were going to accept what the survey said. We wanted to know because the explanation to us prior was not clear. And the assumption when his parents bought that property was that it came down to that point.
So I'm just asking here, so I want to be sure for myself and the members of the fiscal court here. You're saying, according to the survey that Mr. Davidson has done for you, that you believe this gray shaded area would just revert back to the Wayne Price property?
If that's where it came from, all I want to know is where my property is. But
Would
my
Estes property
understanding
on
is that this is not, the other thing I understand is that this is not actually, I mean, it's a gray area. So if somebody claims it legally, I'm fine with it.
All right. We don't want to have a dual to claim.
No, sir.
Okay. Mr. Davidson, are you saying that the triangular shaped area with the lines through it is obviously the Estes' property on the west side of Loving Chapel Road?
Yes, sir.
Okay. The gray area is the area that you believe would have previously been deeded with the Wayne Price property?
Yes. And that's what the previous deeded price, but when they surveyed the prices, they left that gap. So, but yes.
My question, just so we're clear, the striped area, the lined area, it looks like it's pretty well, and you and Mr. Dunning surveys, pretty well in agreement that belongs to the Estes, right?
Yes.
Okay. Y'all surveys dovetail with that concern. All right, and then the shaded area, he thinks it may belong to the Prices, and your position is it's no man's land, and the county doesn't own it.
Right. I think either three of the adjoining properties could possibly claim it, but you would need to speak with a lawyer about how
The question I have is, it's your contention that the county does not own that shaded area?
The county don't have title to it from what I can understand. I don't have any documentation showing the county.
For the state didn't have title to it.
And then the county right of way, as far as the county, they determine the right of way to be back 35 feet according to their ordinances.
So you're saying, I guess my question is.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I interrupted, my apologies.
The county said that it was 35 feet. They acquired the road in 85 and later they determined right of ways. I don't know how they determined them, but I do have a document stating that the county said it was 35 feet right of way, which is 17 and a half feet from the center. But the state did acquire this right of way, and so I feel like that the county would, once the county took it over, they would have the state right.
I would figure we'd have no more nor no less than what the state had.
Yes, sir.
That would be my opinion. We stepped in the state's shoes, so to speak, and we have not a bit more nor a bit less than what the state had. My question is, if it's your contention that the state didn't get that shaded area, therefore we didn't get the shaded area, my thinking is, do we even have a dog in this fight anymore, Judge?
No, here was going to be, that was going to be my next thought is, here's where we're at. I think, in my opinion, we are obviously not a court of law. So we cannot make a determination on this. But I guess here's the question that I have, just to try to hope that everyone remains peaceable throughout this entire deal. We have a shaded area of land that your surveyor is saying most likely would have belonged to the Price property in previous deeds. Okay. Mr. Price is only wanting to have access to his property from Loving Chapel Road. There's a nice young lady here that's been waiting patiently to build a house that, from all things that I know of her, would be a good neighbor for everyone on Loving Chapel Road.
We have no issue with the Wallaces at all. That's never been in question.
So, do you feel as though this is something that you and Mr. Price can work out?
I believe it is now, yes.
Okay.
Well, as I said, if my thinking is at this point, if we
can't take action, we don't own the property.
We don't own the property. And therefore, as I said, that's why I asked, we don't have a dog in this particular fight. And so, this is why I was telling them to tell you, and you, to get a surveyor of your own. You can't beat something with nothing, Michelle. And so, and I know it's not easy, I've had to deal with surveyors before, it takes time, I get that. So my inclination, gentlemen, at this point, it's been rendered, this is not a court of law, but I'm gonna use a legal term, it's been rendered moot because we can't convey what we don't own. And so, at least lawfully. And so I think we let the prices and the Estes try to work something out.
I appreciate that, and thank you for all the trouble that you all have been through with this. And we're content with what has happened, looking at the two surveys together.
There is one other issue.
What's that?
The county road department went out and put a tile in, and that tile was removed. Will that tile be put back in?
I will find out about that. I'm not going to say one way or another right this minute.
That would be very helpful.
The ability is there to do that.
That would be very, very helpful.
Okay.
I have a question.
All right, sir. Okay.
To their surveyor. The point at the base of this triangle where you have the slash line, the bottom point of that, is that point clearly marked right now?
It is not currently, no. No, this is an exhibit. I will mark that, yes, I will mark that because I'm surveying the Estes property.
That would also be very helpful.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. All right, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the budget transfers, we just need a motion and a second to approve those transfers.
So moved. So moved.
Motion by Myron.
Second.
Second by Nate.
Myron Thurman,
Yeah.
Nathaniel Downs,
Yes.
Martin Schindler,
Yes.
Scott Poston. Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next on the item, on the agenda, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we just need a motion and a second to approve those.
Motion moved.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron.
Nathaniel Downs,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next on the agenda is to, if you've had an opportunity to review, would be to approve the August 31, 2019 financial statement, subject to audit, and authorize the county treasurer and the county judge executive to sign that document.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Myron, second by Marty.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Scott Poston,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Next item, gentlemen, if you had a chance to review, we need to approve the renewal of the road fund CD. So there's a Post-it note on here. Megan, I take it
There's
that,
a special right now for, this one's at a 12-month, so it would just renew at 1.89%, but if we change it to an 11-month, we can get it up to 2.47.
Sounds pretty good.
sound like we might ought to do it 11 months. So we just need a motion and a second to renew it to this 11-month special rate of 2.47%.
So moved.
Myron made that motion. Second by Scott.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Scott Poston.
Yes.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes.
Yes. Moving on to reports, I have a few things to share. Obviously, yesterday, we held a press conference here on the courthouse lawn that Warren Rural Electric and the Electric Plant Board Fiber Division were going to partner together to provide high-speed fiber internet to a test pilot area here in Simpson County. That was pretty exciting news. If this pilot area goes well, it will just continue to expand. Both companies have committed to continued growth if they have the participation rate that they expect. And I believe that Warren Rural Electric's target is between 30 and 35% participation. So we've got approximately 350 house area, so they would like to see 90 to 100 of that. I think that rate will be closer to 75 to 80%, but it's pretty exciting news. Obviously, this is a very busy week. The Chamber of Commerce Fall Festival is this week, kicks off with the Chamber's Cruise In on Thursday evening at 6 o'clock here on the downtown square. Then Saturday will be the craft show and car show that will start at 8 o'clock Saturday morning, the 21st. And then also next weekend, the 28th, will be another part of the Simpson County Bicentennial celebrations with a number of activities going on out at the park. I think there's a tug of war, vintage softball game, is it a tractor show and pull or just a show?
Just a show and then a parade.
A show and parade. So a lot of things happening at the community park on September 28th. One other bit of information, just so you install this in your memory banks here until we get more of a firm installation cost. But Bob Palmer, who is not here, checked on the Drakes Creek mile markers. We would need 30 markers at a cost of $19.72 each. So there'd be $591.60 plus hardware, and I would anticipate the type of hardware that you would need to install those, you're going to spend $50 to $75 maybe. So you're looking at under $700, I think, for that. But then installation, and so the question I don't have, because he wasn't here and I haven't had time to talk to any of the other offices about this, but would the emergency management, the road department, the fire department, how would we go about installing these? Or would we need to hire them installed? That would be the question I would have.
I think we can come together, I think we can probably do it in-house. We need to have, some kind of ability to kind of gauge where these things go, based on predicted water levels and all. Obviously, we don't want to install them too low.
Right.
They're kind of useless. So, I think we just need to get with Bob and, kind of figure out a plan. But I don't mind, we don't mind trying to, install them ourselves and work with some of the other agencies.
And I believe the gentleman that does this, helping get the mapping done, that once they're in, because what I understood in Bob's email was that they could be within a few yards of actual miles, just depending on where you could install them, because they're just installing them on a tree or a post or whatever's along the way. But then they're kind of being GPS mapped into the system, so that if someone calls and they're at mile marker 25, let's say, we know right on the GPS where mile marker 25 is along the creek.
I know you're talking about Drakes Creek, but I would like for you to take into consideration, I know everybody in Simpson County runs down Drakes Creek. There's a lot of us in South Central Kentucky that runs down Red River. So I would appreciate if you take that into consideration too. And there's a lot of places down through there that you would, those markers would come in handy.
I've just got one question. How do you put these markers up that won't be destroyed when we have these floods in our
Well,
creeks.
that's what the chief's talking about. We would need to kind of gauge flood levels and be sure that those markers are above it.
Because this could be an ongoing expense if they're washed out by logs and trees.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. You want them installed above what typical flood levels would
I
be.
think what we need to do too, and I mentioned this a few meetings ago, when we were discussing a more, in-depth plan, we need to kind of take a look at what Warren County does, they're did. They did a fine job of implementing it, and we've talked to other folks as well, got some contacts there just to see, what works for them, and kind of learn from their mistakes, and, whatever it is they did, I don't see any sense in reinventing the wheel, so.
Right. So anyway, you got roughly the cost to do it, to purchase the product and the hardware to install it. We need to have a little more firm plan on how we would go about actually doing the installation. But you're looking at, I would say, $650 to $700, depending on the cost of the hardware to install. Mr. Chandler? Mr. Downey?
Well, you left out the homecoming parade.
Oh, yeah, I forgot, yeah, go ahead.
That's all of
Yeah, homecoming weekend, homecoming parade Friday.
Rotary reverse raffle Saturday night.
He was gonna get to that in his report.
Busy weekend.
Very busy. Mr. Downey?
Nothing.
Mr. Poston?
No.
Mr. Thurman?
No.
Mr. Attorney?
Homecoming parade is 1 o'clock Friday. Games that night. We are very blessed. Most folks don't know what homecoming is like we do. And so I encourage everybody to engage and enjoy the festivities. And as previously mentioned by Squire Chandler, the Rotary Club Reverse Raffle is Saturday at the Ag Building at the park. It's the annual fundraiser for the Rotary Club. If you need tickets, you can contact me or any Rotarian, and we'll be delighted to help you get some.
All right. Jailer? Sheriff?
Tax time's coming, October 1st, we'll start collecting taxes, the rates have been set. All very good this morning, because there is a calendar of events that has to take place. Keep an eye on your mail, should we get your tax bill in the first few days of October, but October 1st is when we start collecting. Same time every year, and if you have any problems, just get us started.
All right, sir. Chief, you have anything?
Yeah, briefly. Just want to give a quick update on the Plano Auto Aid Agreement. After much fanfare, that thing has finally been signed.
Hallelujah.
It is at the Warren County Fiscal Court, so we finally had to track it down a little bit, but it is there. So hopefully this afternoon I will get that filed in their office, and we'll bring it back, file it in our office, and then it will be done. But it is at least in somebody's possession here. So on that note, we went ahead last week because we were kind of in a time crunch, and we submitted all of the addresses to the PBA for their processing to get those on those tax bills. So the folks that are in the area that are affected up in the Plano region, that area, you should see that on your tax bills. So just wanted to get that out there.
All right, thanks for that update, Chief. Bill, you have anything with maintenance? Bobby, anything other than?
Well, they started paying this week.
Very good. All right, did I miss anyone? Gentlemen, we do need to have a motion to enter into executive session for the purpose of personnel, discussions or hearings which might lead to the appointment, discipline, or dismissal of an individual employee. I need a motion and a second.
Motion moved to go into executive session.
Nate's made the motion.
Second.
Myron seconded.
Nathaniel Downing,
Yes.
Myron Herman,
Yes.
Scott Poston.
Yes.
Martin Silver.
Yes.
Jason Barnes.
Yes.